Well, hello and welcome to another Foodie Reveal, where I share with you how I am aging well, living on a budget, and dining well while also enjoying things like travel and being able to not only juggle multiple jobs, aging solo, having a really tight budget, and also enjoying things like getaways for the weekend or even international travel sometimes. Now, I'm not too far away from home today. I came out to Wendover. It's in Nevada. It's a border town. I live in Utah where gambling is illegal. And so because I'm a grown-up who does like to gamble and I feel that I can choose to spend my money the way I want, that I will go to Idaho to buy a lottery ticket. I will come to Nevada if I want to play a slot machine. I go to Wyoming if I want to bet on horse races, whatever the case may be. And I like to drive. And because I want to stretch my budget, and I am very particular about the food I like to eat, and it also helps me to save money so that I can enjoy more entertainment, and that I would rather protect my health, and I see food as medicine. So I've always packed food. Even before I adopted a plant-based diet, I grew up seeing that. My grandmothers, my great-grandma, my mom, aunts, uncles, everybody. If we went anywhere, that means they were packing a picnic of some kind. Sandwiches were made. We would stop at a roadside produce stand. My grandma would make a bag of popcorn. We would have a bag of plums from the plum tree. You get what I'm saying. So I want to give you a little foodie reveal just to show you what I've packed to have for this overnight getaway, and how even though this hotel room's beautiful, they upgraded me a little bit more than I'm used to getting. There's no microwave in here, so I'm still gonna have a beautiful, hot, lovely meal in this room, and it's all because of, reveal. I just discovered last year these electric lunch boxes. And because I do work multiple jobs and I'm in the field a lot and I'm often stuck eating in my car sometimes, and even though we don't have a lot of snow right now, it's really sad that it's still really cold. And I really like to have a hot lunch, and I don't always have the time or the energy or the desire to just go find a stray random microwave somewhere. This little baby, so neato. I can plug it into my car outlet, but it has the regular socket for any plug. And what I've done last night, I had a bunch of zucchini and a carrot and an onion. And so I sauteed a bunch of vegetables that I had with my dinner last night, and I made a pasta dish, and I saved the extra vegetables, and I put together a noodle dish. So what I've done, I don't know if you'll be able to see all of the layers. So I've got the noodles, the fettuccine on top. This is going to be more of an Asian blend. So all of the vegetables are under here. And then I also, because I'm doing the Asian, I had an Asian frozen blend, so I put some of that in here. I put in some edamame, and then the seasoning you can see on here, I had some of that, it's a Asian rice seasoning blend with seaweed and sesame seeds and things like that. So that's on here, some ginger, a little bit of rice wine vinegar. So as I'm heating this, and it will just take a little bit of liquid to get that going, what I will also do to give it a little more like it's a bowl, like a noodle bowl with broth, I have these sipping broths. I've shown these in videos before, and I can't recommend them enough. I'm not being sponsored. I encountered these last year, and you can see one of the founders. They're women owned, and I love that. I started using these maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and especially on cold days when I'm craving something a little more savory rather than sweet, I love having a broth. And I've discovered that when I travel, I can have things like rice or noodles, even rice noodles on hand, and make a soup out of these. So I'll actually just, you can see I have a little Keurig back here, so I will heat up some water in that and have the broth hot. So by the time this is about halfway heated, it will start to steam. You can see on the lid here, there's a little stopper. So I just remove that, and then I will pour the broth, and in less than like maybe 20-30 minutes tops, it will be boiling, bubbly, delicious. So good. These are just miraculous. And it came in this little insulated bag that I have a cold pack, since the drive out here was only about an hour and a half, though. I've been gambling and winning, by the way. I'm not ahead, but I'm doing good. Earning more comps. So this will be something, it's fine right here. I could put it in the fridge, but I already have other things in there right now. Want to show you those too. For extra snacks, tomorrow, later, whatever, I've got some clementines. I have an apple. I'll probably save this for tomorrow. For later on tonight, then I've also showed in other videos that I bake my own corn tortilla chips, and because I followed the starch solution, I survived heart disease, liver failure, I have dual artificial hips. I mean, I just went through this medical mystery tour many moons ago, and because of how I needed to balance my health and get off medications, I adopted the starch solution, whole food, plant-based, oil-free. Might seem really off, little if you're not familiar, though it honestly improved my life in ways I hadn't believed possible. And that's what I was after. I wanted to feel better, get off medication, and of course, heal and stay active and independent. So I'm okay eating this way, trust me. To make my own corn tortilla chips, these travel so well. I went to Japan last year for almost 2 weeks, and I took a bunch of these chips just because I love chips and salsa so much. They are so easy to do, and I just take regular corn tortillas, cut them in wedges, bake them 350 degrees for about 16-17 minutes. I spray them with lime juice though. I spritz it with a fine little mist, and it infuses it with this lovely lime flavor. So this tonight this is snacking, late night snacking. Well, not late night for me. I have these little jobbies were on clearance at the store, so I got these little individual things. So I've got some guacamole, spicy. 6 of these was $2 at Kroger. And then I have a little container of salsa. So I will be having a little tapas appetizer tonight. For my dessert, then, I also have, this is one of my favorites. If you saw my emotional eating video and how to answer cravings, because cravings are normal, especially for women and midlife and anything past menopause. It's a normal part of life, especially for women. It's how our hormones are asking for unmet needs, and I will answer the call, and there are healthier options that I prefer. When I'm craving chocolate, then I pair it with my favorite fruits, berries. Blackberries were on sale also at the store. And then I have a little bit of vegan dark chocolate chips. I love the texture. I love little tiny things. They're just cute. And so I'll grab a couple of berries, pop some chocolate in my mouth, and I am a happy, happy camper. So that will be dinner, appetizer, late night snacky, whatever, and dessert. Fruit for if I'm still hungry. I also have, so I'm thinking about tomorrow as well, that I have some little carrots. These are like a staple. If you've seen any of my food videos, especially for my lunches, I just love these little carrots. I know that they're not really baby carrots, but they're super cute. And I also love, since I was going with the Asian theme, I love cucumbers. And when I put them like this sliced, I put a little bit of rice wine vinegar across the top, and then the same seasoning, the Asian seasoning with the seaweed and the sesame seeds, and I put a little bit of sea salt and some black pepper on here as well. Well, I have many options here. The other thing that I have too is breakfast, and I wanted to show you an extra special treat, and I will link the recipe to this at the end. It's not difficult at all, though. Healthy vegan eating. The gentleman's name is Javant, and I have been a follower of his channel for a long time. I went to the plant-based party conference in Las Vegas last year and had the pleasure of meeting him in person. Just a brilliant man, and his recipes are divine. And if you like really beautifully plated food and sweets, and though you're really conscious about wanting to lean out, get more plants in your diet, whatever the case may be, that his recipes, top notch. He introduced everybody at the conference to a chocolate pudding made with sweet potatoes. And I baked these this morning. So I roasted, this is just one sweet potato. So I made enough of a batch so I have other stuff back home in the fridge. So this would amount to just one. And then to sweeten it, I used dates. There is some powdered vanilla in here and cocoa powder, and that's it. I put it in my food processor, and if you had a high-speed blender, it would make it probably a lot creamier, though for me, and the texture is really similar to pudding. I don't hopefully that looks appealing. It's delicious. It is so good. That was one of the conference that I went to, this plant-powered party in Vegas was fully catered, and they made bowl after bowl of this, and people were just, it was devoured. It was gone. It was so good. Even a lot of the people that came that were just on the fence and thinking, maybe I should eat more plants, but plants are so healing. They are so inexpensive. I will check out that video. So I'm not sure when I'll be, I might have this with breakfast. I'm not sure. That's the benefit of this way of eating too, is because everything I eat is nutrient dense, though it is low in calories. And so I've always been a bit of a grazer, and I don't get hungry first thing in the morning. I'm a very early riser. And so I will get up, putter, do my email, work out, all of that type of thing long before my body's hungry. And then from that point, then I tend to about every 2 to 3 hours eating a meal of some kind, and then, you know, doing my best to not eat anything heavy past about 7, 8, somewhere in there. That's what works really well for me. I know that digestion, that process takes a lot of energy. And anytime I ever eat late at night, I don't sleep well. I tend to have nightmares, and then I feel really sluggish and heavy and bloated in the morning. So there's a message from my body. Don't do that. So I don't. This is breakfast. I had the same thing this morning. So again, I just doubled up making things so I could pack here, and it's kind of moved around because it was in the car. I don't know if it looks really appealing. This is about 1/2 cup heaping of the dry quick oats cooked with collard greens. I put greens in nearly everything, and I love the taste of greens, so having it with oatmeal might sound odd, though there are raspberries in here. I also sweeten with stevia. I make my own oat milk, and then there is a little bit of lemon juice in here, and that's a nice brightener. Plus, as we know, that lemon juice is really good for digestion as well, and it helps our gallbladder to produce bile. So if you have a type of a sluggish gut, look into having lemon water. Talk to your doctor about that. My background's in health education. I am not a clinician, though I have worked in the field of health since 1996. And by the way, if you don't know me, my name is Tiffany. I am the founder of Anderson Therapeutics. And this Aging Well channel that I started last August is all about my holistic approach to health. And I have a wide variety of topics on my channel, and I may narrow it down, though health and aging well is a big topic. And as I investigate and explore, and as you can see and maybe see from a lot of my Nourish playlist, is that I'm very passionate about food. I have always loved cooking. Cooking relaxes me, and even though I've been an empty nester for a long time and I'm no longer partnered, I really feel happy when I invest the time and the energy in treating myself to something beautiful, something delicious, and something that helps me to feel better. That's number one on my mind these days, because I am getting closer to retirement, and being independent and having the ability to travel and my freedom, that is, it's important, right? I think we can all relate to that, especially, you may be a caregiver, you may be an empty nester too, or you may be in the sandwich generation. I did that for many years. I was a caregiver, and I saw so many loved ones that were struggling and having a hard time, and also neglecting their health and not taking care of themselves the way that they could have. And we're all adults and we get to make our choices, and that is something that I encourage my clients when I am coaching people, is that food is beautiful. Food is to be enjoyed, and whatever you decide to eat, hold yourself accountable and simply accept the consequences of your dietary choices. That's it. That's it. One of the things that I'm encouraging a lot of people to do now is to focus more on adding nutrition and let go of the thoughts or the concerns or the beating yourself up about subtracting and what you should avoid. Add. Just focus on adding. I put together a resource guide last year, and it's based on some of the material that has been on my website since 2016, and all of it is free. AndersonTherapeutics.com. I will put the link in the description below. The guide, and it's an ebook. I put together print copies because I had the honor of being accepted for Utah Authors Day last December, and had one of my first books that's about joint replacement put in circulation at a local library in Utah, which was a great honor. That if you don't know anything about writing and getting published alone, it's very challenging. This was a bucket list thing for me. I've always loved to write, and getting published, especially for something that I'm really passionate about. The resource guide that I wrote for hip replacement was based on my own personal experience, and this guide came about based off how I am health coaching people and taking more of a customizable approach to healthcare. My holistic approach. My 3 key concepts to improved health are that I soothe, and that is how I manage chronic pain. I nourish, and that is how I am dining well to age well, and that I rest. And I rest by ensuring that I am moving my body every single day. Our body is designed to move, and even if you have limited mobility, if you are restricted in any way, there is some type of movement that you can still do. I will put a link to this below, and you can actually look at a lot of the basic foundations of it on my website. And I also have a PDF that gives you an introduction to it. Thank you again so much for watching. The one other thing, if you're still here, I will show. I've talked about this so many times, my morning kombucha drink. I started drinking this kombucha itself back in 2024 in December, and it was to address an intestinal parasite that my doctor and I were trying a number of ways to help me with this, and things weren't working. So what we decided to do is actually look at different ways that I could heal my gut without adding medication in that might have overwhelmed my liver. And I had not been, kombucha didn't even sound appealing to me because I'm not a fan of carbonation. And I thought, well, okay, I will give it a few weeks, maybe a month, and see how it works. Well, within about 3 weeks, the intestinal parasite had cleared, and the morning kombucha was helping me to extend my fast, helped get rid of some bloating that had been caused by the parasite, and I dropped about 10 pounds in 6 weeks. Now, right now, I'm 5'6", and I weigh about 133. 125 is a much leaner, healthier weight for me, though I'm okay with the weight I am at right now. I tend to fluctuate up in the winter. And with this kombucha drink, because I travel so much, I don't have the container with me since I packed everything. I packed a lot of stuff, as you can see, but didn't want to pack the whole packet. It's a powdered blend. And I found this one knowing that last year I was going to do a lot of international travel. As I said, I went to Tokyo to celebrate my 60th birthday with my grown son. It was so wonderful. And then I also took a cruise from Boston to New Brunswick. And excuse me, I wanted to have something that traveled well, wouldn't cause any drama with TSA and all of that type of thing. And also I could control the added ingredients in here. And kombucha, you know, if you've bought the individual bottles or the large ones, it was getting really expensive. And this powdered blend, I will put the name of it below. Again, I'm not being sponsored. 1 little scoop of this, and then to that, I brew some black tea, and that was one of the ingredients I saw in one of the blends that I was happy with, that was helping me when I was, you know, working on improving my gut health. So I'll have about this much black tea, put that in here. And then this, even though this blend has dehydrated apple cider vinegar, I add more apple cider vinegar. This is about 2 capfuls. And I like the tartness, and that really helps me to manage sugar cravings, and it just gives it a fresh, tart taste. And then I also top it off with some juice. And I buy the low sugar kinds. You could use anything. You could just add water in here. I like this, and then I will top it off with water. I don't want it overly sweet. That isn't the intention of this drink. It's to have the kombucha and the fermentation, because that is what is helping me in the morning. And I've also noticed that my eyes aren't as puffy and my ankles don't swell as much as they had in the past. And perhaps that's also because I'm extending my fast in the morning, and I'm able to do a little bit longer cardio too. So there's that. That is all of my food. And as you can see, this is, to me, this is a lot of food, and I'm certainly not going to go hungry. And I even went out to, there is a Dragon Tiger Noodle House that they had a vegan bowl I treated myself to that. It was only 12 bucks, and I typically don't eat out. And it's not that I'm opposed, though, unless it fits my dietary plan. It's not worth it for me to not feel good. And as I said, I would rather save the money for entertainment and tonight I'm going to have a beautiful meal. I brought some little spa goodies. The bathroom's lovely. And of course, go back down to the casino. So thank you again so much for watching. Consider liking, that makes a difference. Subscribe if you're interested in more videos like this if you haven't already, and check out some of my other videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.